You guys are all the way over there, and I don't know what the sound quality sounds like, but so if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you may have seen or already seen a little bit of my trip to Dublin, Ireland. I got a lot of comments asking me what it was like traveling in Ireland, what it was like being Black in Ireland, who did I book my hotel through, how did I get my flights. So we're gonna talk about all of that in this video. This is my first trip out of the country since 2020. Honestly, was just looking through Google Flights at like cheap flights. This was something I felt like I could not pass up. The price was like the price to go to Boston. I flew with Aer Lingus. It was a round trip flight. So with my bags and my seat, I paid a total of about $504 for my plane ticket. So for me, when I'm planning a trip, I like to personally use booking.com. I don't book through booking.com for hotels because then you get hit with different taxes and stuff like that when you pay for your hotel in person. I do like to use booking.com to look through and see what hotels there are in the area, do it based off of town or region, and see who has the best prices. I will post photos like off to the side. My hotel was absolutely beautiful, but I don't think I would choose to stay there again. Firstly, it was not a traditional hotel, nor was it necessarily a boutique hotel. This was essentially a pub with rooms attached to it that they owned. They were like mini studio apartments. They had a kitchenette, beautiful bathroom, king size bed. I paid for a penthouse with panoramic windows. Really pretty. It was just a totally different experience. The pub opened up at 12. So when I first arrived, there's no check-in. There's no one that you're checking in with. There's no front desk. Check-in is at 3 p.m. I arrived in Dublin at 9 something. There was no way for me to check into the hotel, rest inside the hotel, because it's just a few rooms connected to a pub. Luckily, there was someone at the pub that was able to take my bags and hold them until check-in, so that was lovely. I also just want to say that everyone at the pub that worked at the pub, they were all amazing human beings. They were all so helpful. I felt so safe around them. Any issues I had was mainly with like the room and the way it was set up, not with the staff. The staff and the cleaning staff, everyone was just absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10 for the people that work there. Though, as you can see like in the video footage, it's very pretty. There was dust. In my bathroom, there was a bit of like a sewer smell. The walls were a little scuffed, like as if maybe when moving stuff around, the walls got scuffed up with black marks. And I don't know if that's a make it or break it for some people, but for me, it was a little disappointing to see that, though I got the hotel at a great rate. I paid a total of $380 US, 350 or 330 euros for 3 nights. So again, really, really good. I booked my hotel solely based off of how far the walk was from my hotel to Hermes, and the walk to Hermes was 4 minutes. I also used booking.com to book a car rental. When I'm solo traveling, I like to book a car service to pick me up from the airport and to bring me back to the airport. There's something really good about getting off the plane in a country that you've never been to before, where you may not speak the language, and there's someone standing there in the crowd holding up a sign with your name. Like, there's just something that makes me feel like there's someone here that's looking out for me. And literally they are. I paid about maybe $160 US. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend. I also used booking.com for all of the events or like excursions that I did. So I did a tour of Trinity College with the Book of Kells and Dublin Castle. I also booked my tour to Cliffs of Moher and Galloway. Both tours were under $100. So easy to just go on booking.com and see all of them. They have so many up there, so I was just able to pick the ones that weren't fully booked. Booking.com, if you want to sponsor me. Shameless plug. There was a lot of discourse on my TikTok talking about how I, as a Black woman, don't pay attention necessarily to how many Black people are in a space. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit. I personally believe that once I step out of the country, I'm going to someone else's land that is not my own. And when I'm going there, I am expecting to experience something different than the US. Specifically, if I'm going to a European country, I am expecting to be swallowed up by Europeans because I'm in European territory. With that being said, the countries that I am interested in, at least right now, are Western countries that essentially are the same as the US. So I guess I'm always taken aback by comments when they're like, how are you treated as a Black person? For me, it's like essentially the same way I'm treated here in America. There's not a huge difference in the economy. There's not a huge difference in social norms. Like, being in Ireland wasn't extremely different than being in the US. You know, we're all still Western countries. There's so much crossover that when I'm looking at going to places in Europe or whatever, I'm not thinking of like safety as a Black person because I know I'm in a country that is very, very similar and on par with the United States. So in my mind, any sense of racism that I may experience over there essentially would be the same as what I would experience here. Also, another thing that's really interesting is like knowing that I'm in Europe and that gun safety is very different there than it is here. I felt much more safe there. Being able to like walk around and know that no one's gonna like whip out a gun. I live in Chicago. So much gun violence happens in that area as well, unfortunately, gang related. I was able to walk around at nighttime and feel so secure, which is something I do not feel here. Walking around Chicago at night, I am such on high alert. The stuff that happens at nighttime sometimes here is genuinely insane. Also, when I talk about not looking for groups of people that look like me, again, when I'm traveling to another country, I am not looking to connect with my own people. I am here to experience another culture. That's why I'm leaving. I'm leaving my country and I'm leaving the melting pot of the United States of America to hopefully experience and learn about someone else's culture and someone else's history. I think one of the biggest culture shocks that I had, I already knew that the US is a baby. Being in Dublin and the difference of like walking around Chicago and having houses from the Gilded Age, or like going down south and seeing plantations. You go to Dublin and you're seeing buildings that are 600, 700, 800 years old, like way older than the United States of America. I thought that was amazing. Like still standing, still being occupied, being used, rented out the same way that you would in New York or Chicago with other historic buildings. They're just so much older, and I thought that was so beautiful. But overall, when I travel, my top priority obviously is safety as a woman. But when I know that I'm not going to a country that is, I don't know, very strict, where you have to have an escort, women are not allowed to walk around outside without having someone walk with them, women don't have rights, like those types of places, that's not the European continent. And so I guess I just don't understand the fear that a lot of Black people have traveling outside of the country. Like, it is not known of us being hunted down for sport in Italy or in Ireland or in London. There are evil people everywhere. If what you guys are asking me is if I'm experiencing microaggressions, that's a totally different story. And honestly, I give 0 F's about microaggressions. If someone sits me in the back of a restaurant, that's not going to make me say that I hated Dublin because at this restaurant they sat me in the back because I'm Black. Like, that happens here in Chicago. That's not a characteristic trait of Ireland. Like, it's a character trait of that person or maybe that establishment, but not of the country itself. If I got strange looks because I might have been the only Black person in a space, let them look. That does not bother me. That does not make me feel any type of way. I am different. I am not the norm here, and that actually is okay. That's how I move through my life. Those types of things do not bother me. So don't ask me about microaggressions and stuff like that. You're not going to get the information that you want to hear. If I am assaulted, if I am called a racial slur, if someone spits in my face and tells me to go back to my country, you will hear about something like that. If those things are not happening, you're not going to hear about me getting followed around in a store because I'm Black, because that happens here in Chicago all the time. It does not, it's not a jarring experience. That's just a character trait of the person or of the establishment. It's not of the country. So take that somewhere else and allow yourself to travel the world without being concerned of experiencing microaggressions and being uncomfortable. Like, get out of yourself, get out of, and see from a different worldview. I think that's the beauty of traveling. And that leads me right into my next point, why I enjoy solo traveling. So one of the best things for me about solo traveling is that you are by yourself. It's very empowering to go to another country where, one, you don't speak the language, or just geographic location that you're not familiar with the terrain, and just relying on yourself and the people around you to be able to navigate the town, the city. It's very empowering, and it just sometimes is a reality check for me that I can do a lot of stuff on my own, that I am smart, that I'm intelligent, that I am aware, and that I know how to use my resources. And it always boosts my confidence. Number two, people are open to you. And I think that's amazing. Normally, or oftentimes when we are traveling with one other person or a group of people, other people feel intimidated. So it's not often that you'll have people always walking up to you, wanting to talk to you, wanting to get to know you. But when I solo travel, people are always open to engaging. I have people coming up to me and asking me where I'm from, and asking me about my culture, or asking me what I'm interested in, and vice versa. It's always really nice, and I love making those little vacation friends that you're able to do something with. Now, that's the beauty to me of solo traveling. Like, people are more open, and you are more open as well, believe it or not. You are more open to picking up a conversation with a random person, or just walking up to someone and cozying up to them and getting to know them. It just creates such a beautiful, genuine experience. Also, it allows you to determine if you really enjoyed the country or if you really only enjoyed the company. Sometimes the moment that you have with each other could be so special, could be so romantic, could be so fundamental to your relationship that when you look back, you're like, oh, Paris is amazing, or Marrakesh was amazing. When in reality, the person that you were with was amazing. You guys were connecting on a different level. When you go by yourself, you get to really see if you really enjoyed the culture, if you really enjoyed the company, the people that you were around, you know, and vice versa. Say that you go on a trip with someone and you guys have a falling out. You won't necessarily, you may not want to go back to Marrakesh. Everything that was happening could have really jarred your view on the culture and the people around you. And now maybe you have like a bad taste in your mouth of Marrakesh. That's not genuinely reflective of that country, because the company that you were with was sour. So that kind of wraps up my whole video. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. If you have any tips to traveling to Ireland, or if you see that anyone needs some recommendations, please leave them down below. I will also list the restaurants that I can remember that I ate at. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely time on your travel journey. Please, again, hit the like button and follow me if you enjoyed this type of content, or if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more of this face. Please also follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you're not already. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.